Ken Burns is one of the world's most renowned documentary filmmakers with acclaimed looks at everything from the Civil War to baseball.
We're pretty happy he's with us this morning, along with our pal Tom Brokaw, to talk about his newest documentary, The Mayo Clinic, Faith, Hope, Science. It offers a rare glimpse inside the prestigious hospital. Take a look. America's premier hospital in prime time.
Can you help me with this?
The Mayo Clinic is acclaimed filmmaker Ken Burns' latest documentary for PBS. The 2-hour film, shot over 3 years, follows surgeons, patients, and the human side of life and death decisions. In typical Burns style, it looks at the clinic's history.
She had her vision of building a hospital, a place she insisted that would be open to all sick persons, regardless of their color, sex, financial status, or professed religion.
But couples that with the contemporary humanity its healthcare providers deal with every day.
Melanoma is actually one of the most common cancers that can spread even to the fetus.
And chronicles more than 150 years of cures and compassion.
Sometimes I deal with people that die. I feel that the only way that I can give them hope is if I know in my heart of hearts I'm trying to push the boundaries.
Wow, Ken Burns, Tom Brokaw, good morning.
Good morning.
Ken, okay, we all know about the Mayo Clinic. I had no idea about the origin of this place.
It has the best origin story. There's a tornado. W.W. Mayo and his 2 sons are a local family practice. They asked the Sisters of St. Francis if they can use their empty seminary rooms to house the injured mother. Alfred says yes, but comes back and says, I just had a vision from God that I'm to build you a hospital here in the cornfield, and it will become world-renowned for its medical arts. And he's an agnostic who defends Darwin by the day, and he says, yeah, right, you're not going to be able to do this. She goes, but if you do it, I'll be your surgeon. They shake on it. And the thing is, this isn't some quaint 19th century story. Those nuns are still there. The values of the Franciscan sisters inform the Mayo Clinic, which runs parallel to the most superbly engineered system of delivering health care we've ever found. Just rated as the best hospital in the United States, therefore the world again. And I went there just to get a checkup and was blown away by the quality of the care. So it's the story of the history, but also these contemporary stories of regular people getting extraordinary care.
Tom, your connection to this is personal. You sat on the board. You were also a patient at the Mayo Clinic. What are they doing at the Mayo Clinic that hospitals around the country could learn from? What's the secret sauce?
I think the team approach is the most important part of it. You're never in a meeting with just your physician. You have the whole team. They're all looking at the same screen at the same time. And the whole idea is to make you better. The other thing is that these are doctors who are on salaries. They're not on fees. Everybody gets paid according to a salary scale that they have. So you're not getting extra tests just to kind of beef it all up. And the other thing is that, as Ken knows well, 1 million patients go through the Mayo Clinic every year. And the astonishing efficiency of what they do, everyone who comes back from it, as Ken did and other people have as well, are blown away by how well it works. The town of Rochester is the Mayo Clinic. I mean, it's all integrated. And they're very modest, Minnesota nice people, and they get the best physicians in the world because all they have to do is worry about being a good doctor.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about them, not only do miracles happen there, they're an open book. Ken, you went to them and you said, hey, look, if I find something, it may end up in my documentary, something not flattering.
We're not in the business in public broadcasting. We've got a distinct line between church and state. And I said to the CEO, what if we find something bad? And he paused and said, well, if you did, we'd want to know about it. And it's not a perfect place. And there are misdiagnoses and mistakes are made. Diseases are pernicious. Patients die. And as you see, Dr. Polito, every physician there has their own intimate personal graveyard of the patients they lost, and they want to do better. That culture of collaboration that's done from the salary means they select for people who are designed for this team effort. And when you're there, you never feel like you're alone. Like we always think that the patient is first. That's what there was their motto. But it's not. It's either the doctor first or the administrator or the insurance guy. Here, because they're nonprofit, they pour everything back into education and research and innovation and patient care. The patient is first, and the difference is night and day. And it's not a secret sauce in a way. They share everything with everybody.
Wow.
And you know, we wish that the rest of our healthcare system could be so good.
Ken, thank you. Tom Brokaw, love having you as always. The Mayo Clinic airs tonight on PBS.